Over the years browsing X, I've heard quite a few stories that are nearly identical to my grandpa's. Kinda discouraged me from sharing a story actually because I figured it would have just sounded stale. But oh well, here's a well-known story in my family. B grandpa, 12 years old or roundabouts, walked to and from school every day. Always cut across a ton of fields to get there. Fields are always empty after school. Makes for a lonely walk, travel in silence. Watching your feet as you go, just thinking. Hear your uncle's voice call your name. Look up. There's uncle on the side of the field about 10 feet away. He tells you to hurry home. Dinner's almost ready. Says to tell your mom, his sister, that he's sorry he won't be able to make it. He's gotta go somewhere. Yes, sir. You wave goodbye and uncle smiles at you as you go. Reach home. Dinner's ready. But mom and dad are quiet. Your uncle died this afternoon. Fell off his horse and broke his neck. Grandpa told the story to grandma. She told it to the rest of us. Grandpa only ever talked about it once in front of me. Said his uncle was a bit of a drinker. That day was the most sober I'd ever seen him, and I found it strange at the time. B probably 14 to 15. Have sleepover at friend's house. House is pretty old, creaky, and eerie. Everyone piles on friend's bed and goes to sleep. Wakes up suddenly. Suddenly felt like we weren't alone. Rolled over looking at the closet. Sees goddamn face in darkness. 2 eyes, lips and hair that looked like the damn Grudge. Stays for 3 to 4 seconds before sliding back in the closet. Tries nudging friend but no luck. Freaking the fuck out but can't move due to fear. Literally stays awake until sunrise. Months later, we all go to see The Grudge when it came out. Freak out and run out of the movie followed by friend who are in tears. Everyone saw that freaking thing that night. Never slept over again. Nope.jpg. Really freaking tired one night. Get home and collapse on the sofa. I'm too tired to get in bed. Sleep soundly. Crash. Fell off the sofa. God, I feel like shit. Something feels incredibly off. I look around. That's not my sofa. Realize I'm in a completely different house. Instantly fucking freeze up in fear. How the fuck am I here? Could I have stumbled into the wrong house? How did I even get in? What if I was abducted? Calm down and decide to explore the house. Why the fuck I decided on this and didn't just leave, I'll never know. The house looks old and abandoned. Doesn't look like anyone's lived here for a while. Keep hearing noises you'd expect from an old rundown house. Think I keep seeing someone in my peripheral vision. Hear a door creak open. It wasn't open before. I'm freaking terrified at this point. Questions are racing through my mind, but I'm not getting any answers. Sprint out of the house. Every shadow is a potential threat. I'm outside on the street and calming down now that I'm out of there. Start laughing from relief. I'm such a freaking idiot. Hear knocking. What? Turn around. Can't see a thing. Knocking again. Turn back to the house. Dark figure standing at the window. Waves at me. Nope.jpg.exe.avi rmvb. I swear to God this is a true story. I've never felt so freaking terrified in my life. I probably stumbled into the wrong house and encountered a squatter. Be very young, 5 or 6, on a family vacation across the pond to England, taking a tour of some very old medieval ruins. Wander off to, I don't know, do toddler stuff. Come across an ancient well with a heavily rusted metal grate covering the opening. A couple of rusted ladder rungs attached to the outside. Enchanted with my discovery, proceed to throw rocks and grass and stuff through the grate. From down below. Hello? The voice is quiet, clearly female and clearly English. Jump. But otherwise think nothing of the situation, as children are wont to do. Me. Hi. The well. It's so nice to see you. What is your name? Tell the voice my name and return the question. The voice responds with a name that I can never remember. The well. It really is nice to meet you, Anon. I never get to see anyone anymore. Me. Why not? The well. I'm stuck. Me. How come? The well. I fell here a long time ago. I think someone might have pushed me. Start to notice a sloshing sound at the bottom of the well. Not tall enough to see over the edge, but it sounds quite far to the bottom. Me. Okay. I'll go tell my mommy and we can help you come out. Sloshing stops. The well. No, please don't go away. I'm scared. It's hard for me to stay here. I try to ask why she's scared a couple of times. Can't remember getting a straight answer. Instead, I like you. Do you like me? I say that I do, but starting to get nervous. Childhood notwithstanding. The well. It's dark and lonely down here, but it doesn't ever change. There are places we can go. We can make things. Scared but curious, begin to clamber up the iron rungs to see over the edge of the well. The well. I've been lonely for a long time. You can help me. My eyes clear the edge of the well in time to see the metal grate slowly swing open of its own accord, hinges squealing. Nope.jpg. Fall off the well. Tear off across the ruins looking for mommy. Behind me. Splashing. Metal squeaking. Screaming. Nope, 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 nope. I work with a woman from Hong Kong. Call her Rachel. Rachel used to live with her older sister for a while. Older sister's husband worked every day. Her older sister worked too. Rachel stayed home. Occasionally, she would see sister's husband walk from one room to another, always while he was at work. She would check the room she saw him go into and it would be empty. Told older sister. She's seen it too. Says it's a double. Sister tells Rachel not to talk about it. It's bad luck. They still see the double regularly. Rachel told me this, but she kinda struggles with English. She didn't use the word double, but it seems like a good word for it. She said lots of people see these things and they all kinda ignore it. I'm really glad you wrote this down because it reminded me that one of my friends had a pretty similar experience. Here's the story. Be my friend. In high school in Homer, Alaska in the 1980s. Being kind of friends with this weird girl in class. She keeps talking about how her brother's double is so annoying. What.jpg? Ask her if she means his twin. Does he have a twin? She says no. She means his double. Proceeds to tell my friend about how she sees her brother in two places at once and also interacts with him. Like she walks into the kitchen and her brother is there eating cereal. Then she walks to the living room through the only pathway and there is her brother watching TV. She says she can talk to both of them and they behave similarly. Although the double only appears at her house. Only difference is that the double likes playing pranks. Apparently the double likes to hide in weird places, like in her closet or in the kitchen cabinets or under the couch, and jump out and scare her. My friend is thoroughly WTFing at this point. He also doesn't believe her at all and thinks it's complete bullshit because this girl is totally into spirits and Ouija, and is almost talking about communing with the dead and third eyes and other stuff that make her story suspect. Plus, she's told him a lot of other ghost stories at this point and they all sounded like total bullshit. But this one is different because she isn't scared and she didn't frame it as a ghost story or even a cult. It was just part of her life. Flash forward like 20 years. Currently living in Washington. Traveled back to Homer for some family event. I don't remember what he said. At the Anchorage airport, my friend runs into that girl's brother. They recognize each other from high school and catch up a bit, and he learns that the brother is also coming into town to visit and that his sister will also be there. Say goodbye to each other after they collect baggage, and my friend makes a note to look up that girl he was friends with in high school since she'll actually be in town. Get to Homer after a several-hour drive. The next day, he goes to her house to say hi. Very small town, he remembers where her folks lived. They catch up since they haven't really talked since high school. My friend casually mentions that he saw her brother at the airport and asked if he was busy and when he'd be coming back. The girl looks at him all confused. Huh? Explains that her brother is coming to visit but that he won't be back for another 3 days because it was hard finding a flight from Colorado and back. What.jpg? My friend suddenly remembers all that shit this girl told him about her brother's double back in high school. Shitsbricks.png. After that, I think they talked about it for a bit and the girl said she hadn't seen the double since high school and had kind of forgotten about it, but seemed to take it in stride and find it funny and said something like glad to hear he's still kicking around up there. Nothing else happened regarding that, but kinda a lot like your story. This happened a few years ago when I lived in Tennessee. Driving home from Memphis to Nashville. Be about 3 a.m. Halfway home, I realized I forgot to get gas. Take exit with scant hope that I'll find a gas station that's open. Drive about 10 miles and come upon a Sunoco. Pull up to pump. Ding ding. Attendant runs out from the garage and promptly begins fueling my car. Feeling pretty confused since full-service gas stations are rare, and one being open this late is flat out weird. Attendant starts making small talk with me. I mention how odd it is that they're open at this time of night. His demeanor changes from affable to wary. Things get silent and awkward. That'll be $19. Hand him my debit card. He stares at it puzzled. What am I supposed to do with this? Explain I have no cash, only debit card. He just stares at me. Well, don't worry about it, this one's on the house. Thank him, and get back on the highway. 2 weeks later, I'm passing back through the area. Get off at the same exit. Follow road to where the gas station was, intending to pay for the gas I got and thanked him for being so helpful. Pull into lot. The place is dilapidated. Looks like it's been abandoned for about 30 years. Get super creeped out and head back for the highway. Had a family member that had one of these experiences. Sodak 1990s. Stormy night. Lightning illuminates what would have been a completely dark landscape. Father is driving out to visit grandmother and help out on the farm. Storm gets fierce. Can't see good enough to drive. Unfortunately, he's still ways from the farm, but he's also a good distance away from anything. Literally anything, just miles and miles of flat prairie. Through the heavy rain, lightning illuminates a windmill overlooking a small barn off on the right. My dad thanks his luck and pulls off the road to take shelter from what he assumes is going to be a nasty hailstorm. Waits for lightning to illuminate windmill. Sure enough, crack. He takes off for the shelter of the barn. Once inside the barn, he hunkers down. Storm gets worse. Ends up sleeping on the floor, safe from the hailstorm erupting outside. Morning the next day, car windows blown in by hail. Had he been in the car, he would have taken a beating. Brushes glass off the driver's seat and pushes on towards grandmother's. Helps in whatever. Talk to my grandmother about the barn. What barn? She says. The one just west of here on the right side of the road. Oh, you must have been mistaken. There's nothing in that direction till Pierre. Sure as shit on the way back home, my dad passes where the barn should have been. Only a foundation stands. A few smashed pictures of a couple long dead rot in a pile of rubble. Did some research. Found that the owners of the barn died in 1956, when the barn collapsed in a snowstorm. Be me, 19 years old, 2010. Friend calls me to go pick him up from class so we can chill. Stop by gas station to use his food stamp card to buy snacks. He suggests we chill at the cemetery behind the school until it's time to drop him off back to class. Cemetery is very old and has rumors of witchcraft taking place at night. Middle of the day, so no worries there. Enter the driveway and pull over at the outskirts of the cemetery to not bother the bereaved visiting loved ones. Eat chips and talk for a while. Something hits my Suburban in the rear and launches me forward. Lights turn on inside. We both get out thinking someone rear-ended us. No one behind us and no other vehicle in sight. We look at each other in disbelief. Get back in the vehicle and continue eating chips till it was time to leave. Me and my friends still talk about it till this day. Be me, 8 years old. Visiting family in Sri Lanka. We're driving to Colombo in the dead of night. Have to travel through a forest to get there. Suddenly, my uncle stops the car and turns off the lights. My dad asks him what's up and he whispers something back into Mil. Dad's face freezes. I vividly remember his eyes widen in terror. I ask what's up. I'm told that it's a bull elephant in must, and that driving past it might drive it to attack. I could tell that it was a lie. My dad is a dreadful liar. That, and it was pitch black. How could he tell it was in must? The two men debate about what to do for a few minutes. I was born in the West, so I can't speak to Mil. I could only tell that both my father and uncle were getting increasingly frantic. Uncle finally panics and slams the pedal. We set off at a breakneck pace. My dad tries to pull me away from the window, but I was too keen on seeing the elephant. I look to the rear and I see something that appears to be running behind us. It's nowhere near the size of an elephant. It looked and ran somewhat like a man. I couldn't see clearly at all, but if I didn't know any better, I'd have thought it was a bearded man in a strange flowing coat. Hear a strange grating sound, but it's almost drowned out by the sound of the engine. I tell my dad that there's a man there and that he must have been running away from the elephant. Dad doesn't even answer. He says hurriedly, says something to my uncle, and my uncle responds with what I know to be the Tamil equivalent of "oh my god." Spend the next few days at the temple, where my uncle makes sure that various pujas are performed for my safety and prosperity. My dad denies it whenever I bring it up, but I know what I saw that day. It's haunted me ever since. Something awful and scary happened to me last year. I green texted this event earlier today on X in a Skinwalker thread, but I lost it. It is long but real, and it still makes me feel a little queasy. What do you think? Live in rural North Nevada. Them thars gold and them hills boys. No, but it really sucks. Hanging with 3 bros drinking at the house. Call up some friends. It's desert party time. Drive into nowhere on a dirt road, so we can shoot targets and shit and listen to obnoxiously loud music. 30 miles into driving, completely stark barren desert. The dirt road ends at no significant location. Wow, that's weird. A bunch of other gays met us there. There are some hot-ass girls too, oh lord. We set up tables and chairs, get the bumpiest car stereo going, and everyone is drinking and firing rifle into the hills. Shit is so cash. The girls hate the guns and are generally worthless. Some half-dozen weed-smoking members of our cohort nip off to smoke a blunt. Need to go to the top of the tallest nearby hill to acquire the best smoking spot. Get to the top. The hill overlooks a valley, and on the side opposite us, holy shit, there is an older structure in the distance. Maybe half a mile. It looks like a farmhouse. It's exploring time, son. Gather everyone. This is going to be so awesome. It is still early evening, still light out. As the entourage gets closer to the farmhouse, it becomes clear that it is really freaking spooking skeletons. The females are too scared to enter the unholy basilica because of the front door. Pick related. Jesus freaking Christ. It is a 1940s era 2-story very fancy farmhouse. Everything is thrown all over the place. It is absolutely covered in rat shit and decades of undisturbed dust. However, what is disturbing is that everything is still there. Pillows, blankets, chandeliers, books, furniture, pictures, paintings, even an old film reel projector and screen. These people were obviously very wealthy. But in 70 years, the property has been pillaged, but none of the shit was stolen, sold at auction, destroyed, retrieved by friends or relatives. The antique cars sit rusting into the ground out front with all their parts still on. Old school mint green refrigerator with door open. Dissected moldified ancient food remains. No, this is not right at all. How did this happen? Start to get creeped out. Wardrobes filled with World War II era looking clothing. I do not know the significance of the farmhouse with the story. The thing is, I felt like the farmhouse was a very bad place for reasons I did not really understand. I mean, nothing bad happened at the farmhouse, it was just a little odd. But absurd shit went down that night, and it started with the farmhouse. I went from drinking beers and having a good time to freaking the fuck out. The sun was starting to go down, so we needed to get back to party camp. Barbecue time. Whipping burgers and steaks up on the grill. Oh my god, that shit is delicious. My friend Dan has lived down the street from me our whole lives. Essentially, we have known each other since elementary school. Dan is fat but funny, so it is tolerable. He comes up to me and quietly says that he wants to go home. I try to get him to tell me what is up, but he doesn't give me a straight answer. I am sure he was right spooked by the farmhouse like I was. Eating jello off a lolly's stomach, so don't really give a shit. Today was a good day after all. Brought lots of cut wood. Bro number 2 and I get the bonfire going. The light of the bonfire illuminates someone freaking walking towards us in the desert. They aren't even walking along the direction of the road. Everyone essentially shits their pants, turning the music off and scrambling thinking it is an axe murderer, or even worse, a cop. It is just this freaking dude in a hoodie, walking in the middle of the pitch black desert. Somewhat drunk and confused, in light of the strange circumstances, we are relieved that it is just some relatively friendly guy about our age, maybe no older than 20. We tell him he scared the shit out of us and asked what he was doing out there. Hiking. Do you know how creepy that is? Someone says, referencing the fact that he was walking around randomly in the deserted plains, in the dark, by himself. Yeah, he's the creepster. We made several jokes calling him the creepster, but he seemed like a quiet but good-natured fellow and laughed with us. We asked him to hang out with us and got him a beer. He had sort of strange mannerisms like a drug burnout and a scar in his mouth like a cleft lip scar or something. I'm so freaking stupid. The whole time the hooded guy is acting in a strange way, like he is waiting at the DMV or sitting at a dentist's office or something. I don't know how else to describe it. I remember thinking that he is probably just awkward. It starts to sink in for me maybe 20 minutes later that something incredibly wrong is going on. I start to feel panicked. I start to pack my shit away. It is past midnight and some people have already left. I tell bro number 2 that we are about to oust this joint, that we should smoke before we hit the road. I tell him to get Dan because he's always down to smoke. Dan is completely missing. Where the fuck is Dan? We ask everyone. We ask them when they last saw him. We walk around the area with flashlights, thinking he had to call his mom or he pissed his pants or he was taking a shit down the desert. We blow up his phones with calls and text messages to no response. He was not. Bro number 2 and I drive around honking with the brights on, trying to locate him. We have been looking for him for 45 minutes. Dan is gone. We hope, we pray, that Dan was serious about going home and got a ride with one of the gays who left earlier. Now we really need to leave. Right now. We can drop by his house to see if he is there. For some reason, everyone assumes that we will take care of the hoodie guy. They get in their cars and say goodbye. I am the driver. I would feel like an a-hole leaving hoodie guy out in the freaking desert. How would he get home? How did he get out here? How did he get out here? I offer to give him a ride. I'm actually sweating on the trip home. Bro number 2 in the passenger seat asks him where he lives. He gives us verbal directions to a street Calle de la Plata. My stomach drops instantly. That is the street where both Dan and I live. Bro number 2, a short distance away. Holy freaking shit. We say nothing. There is no, oh wow, we live there too, or how long have you lived there? The rest of the ride is in silence. We bring him to the major intersection just a block away from where Dan lives. We drop him off there and he thanks us. We go to Dan's house, his mom, but no Dan. Not wanting to worry her, we don't tell her or call the cops or anything. He must have gone off to party with some other troop. I called Dan in the morning. I think it was one of the most emotional conversations I've ever had in my life. I was literally in tears. I don't know why. It wasn't sadness. Dan's story is as follows. He watched us leave the party camp last night. He said goodbye to us. He says that we left abruptly with the hoodie guy. Dan, where were you last night? You were gone for at least 2 hours. We spent almost one of those 2 hours looking in the desert for your ass. I was there the whole time. No you weren't, no you fucking weren't. Did you go to take a shit for 2 hours somewhere? I was there the whole time. Completely without words, I spent a lot of time just sitting in a chair thinking over what happened. Then I get a call from bro number 2, who has a much worse story. We go over to see Brent. Brent was one of the gays who was at the party camp. He brought the chicks. The chicks were over there too when we went to see him. They say we never looked for Dan. They say that Dan was never missing. He was there the whole time. And we left before he did. They say that we arrived with the hoodie guy, that he was with us in our car when we got there. I try to calm down and explain to them that it is impossible. We arrived with Dan. Why did you call him the creepster then? I ask her. I don't know, he was just really quiet and had a weird scar. No, you frickin' saw him walk out of the desert. He walked out of the pitch black darkness. You were frickin' there. Bro number 2 and I are yelling at the top of our lungs. They don't seem to understand what we are so upset about. They keep telling us to calm down. They do not remember how strange it was that he was in the middle of the desert. He came with you. Dan does not really ever hang out with us anymore. He was always a fun guy to be around. His mom says he's going through some personal struggles. But since March 2012, he does not really even talk to me or bro number 2. Sometimes I wonder if my friends have some sort of amnesia or collective blocking. Sometimes I wonder what happened to Dan when he was gone for 2 hours. Sometimes I wonder if the hoodie guy was a freaking human being. I have a memory that still bugs me to this day. When I was about 10, my family had a dog. It was a retriever named Mooney, and we had him for about a year before he randomly disappeared one day. Parents said he must have run away, and we were all bummed because he was a great dog. Well, a week later, I see him wandering around the street and call out to him. He perks up and rushes over. I tell my parents, hey look, Mooney's back. And they seem really weird about it. Almost sad. Years later, I bring this up with them and they tell me that Mooney was a freaking bulldog. I just randomly brought a retriever home one day insisting that it was our dog Mooney. They figured I was just sad and coping, so they just let me keep the dog. Lol. Thing is, I don't remember ever having a bulldog. I don't think I was young enough to make that sort of mistake either. And I remember calling out to Mooney. He responded to his name. Whole thing fucking bugs the shit out of me. I posted this on the last thread, but it got archived quickly, so I'll post it again. Be me. Visit Algeria with family in 2009. Visit cool places around the coast. Find a tourist attraction where they could let you cross the Sahara with a party of people. Most of the trip is uneventful. We reached the Libyan border. This is Gaddafi's Libya, so border control is very strict. We had to stake out in an oasis town till they processed our passes. Evening comes and our party gets a barbecue together. We're talking about the journey, but one guy is absent. A Greek dude who's mostly very talkative is staring out into the desert. I look towards the direction he is. The sun still slightly pops from the horizon. Cool, I think. But then I notice the people. In front of the sun, a group of silhouettes is standing maybe 300 meters away. I want to look away but can't. I stare for a few minutes and tap on my shoulder knocks me out of it. I walk up to the Greek dude and tap him out. He looks at me and shouts, wow. He starts telling everyone about the silhouettes. The guide quickly shuts him up. He tells us not to stare because the sun messes with your eyes. Clearly bullshitting, but okay. We get shooed off to our rooms. I'm chilling out with family when we hear frantic knocking. It's the Greek. He's freaking out. You saw it. You did. I know you did. He kept talking about the silhouettes. He then dragged me out of the room and told me to follow him. He told me to look around. I saw a small blue and yellow dot on the horizon. No matter which way you looked, they were there. Greek is going nuts. Then two of the blue dots start getting bigger. Tell the Greek to shut the fuck up. The dots get very bright. A blue light illuminates my body. I start feeling very exhausted. Me and Greek fall on the ground. We both start vomiting. Then someone comes with the brightest flashlight I've ever seen. I get a glance at what was being illuminated. It was a humanoid figure. It was wearing a skull covered in arms. Pic related is a sketch of what I saw. It retreats back into the darkness. This dude screams at us in Arabic. The guy comes and slaps us with a sandal. Tells us to get the fuck in and not come out until dawn. Dawn comes and we pass through Libya with no trouble. The whole journey, me and Greek are silent. Guide doesn't even want to look at us. When we come back to Algeria, Guide advises us to go to a hospital. I do. Doctors ask us weird questions like any bad dreams, hallucinations, relatives seeming like strangers. Answers no to all. They let me out. Feel uneasy the rest of the trip. Be me, 12 years old, attending Catholic school with a playground that had lots of trees, like a little forest. I get detention one day and two of my friends stay with me to rake leaves in the forest. It is now 6-ish p.m. and we're almost done, so we start playing around throwing pebbles at each other. I see one of my friends hiding behind a tree and grab a fistful of gunk to shove it down his pants. As I approach him, I hear two of my friends call out to me and I'm weirded out because the only people left at the school are a couple of teachers and the basketball team. I turn around and start hearing leaves rustling behind me and I make a run for it. Spot my two friends and yell for help. One starts running away and the other looks like he's gonna shit his pants. I don't look back and keep running, eventually catching up to him and pull him by the arm to come with me. Other kid starts yelling for help. Basketball team and gym teacher run over to me and I black out from fear and exhaustion. Wake up in the arms of some teacher and I get laid down in the infirmary bed. My head is still throbbing and I ask for water, but the teacher leaves me there alone and gets the F back outside. Mom and dad come pick me up and dad stays in school while my mother drives me back home. Monday comes and everyone is talking about what happened. Shit pants kid didn't come to school. I ask around and another friend told me he was sick. Get called to the mother principal's office along with the kid who ran away. My mom and his dad are there too. The nun starts apologizing to both our parents and almost begs them not to sue. I'm in the dark up to that point because my parents had asked me what happened over the weekend and wouldn't answer my questions. Just comfort me and let me sleep in their bed. The guy goes on a rant about how he pays good money for his son to go there and blah blah blah. Mom and I are asked to step outside for a moment and then we go back in. The nun says she's gonna ask us what happened. I tell her my version. She turns to the other kid and asks if he'd like to share. Kid is visibly shaken up but starts talking. He says I got separated from the two other boys and that they hear me scream. And as I made my way up the little hill, he saw a face staring back at them popping up behind a tree. He says he then saw the thing start coming up behind the tree and he started to run. Says it looked all black except the face. Could have been the lighting. Nun asks him to draw the face and the kid draws some Picasso bullshit of a thing with big lips and chink eyes. Mother what's-her-name says that'll be all for today and we can all return to our classroom. Mom kisses me goodbye and asks me to eat lunch inside instead of playing outside. I play outside anyway. Forest has people cutting down trees and yellow tape around it. Stay near the basketball court eating lunch with the other kid and a shit ton of kids who wanted to hear the story and they ask dumb shit like, was it Slender Man? We both exaggerate our stories and they are amazed. Couple of days go by. It's now Thursday and Shit Pants shows up. He looks okay. I go up to him and ask him why he didn't come to school. Says he is changing schools. Probably because he made a scene at home. Ask him what happened after I fainted. Says he kept staring at the forest and describes the same chink monster my other friend drew. Says the thing kept staring back at him even when people came to take us away. Ask the gym teacher what happened that day, and he says he didn't see anything at the forest. But since both my friends' stories matched up describing the thing, the mother principal got really upset and is having the trees gone for good. I get sad because I really like the woods. I like to climb the trees. Things return to normal. Kid's dad didn't sue. My parents take me out of there and they let me attend a regular school. Never know what happened. Mom brushes it off as kids being kids. I'm 22 now and found out my dad was really into the occult and we have similar interests because I've been reading and practicing since 20. He says it's the weirdest shit he's ever seen because we couldn't have been lying since the kids saw the same thing. Says he thinks it could have been an egregore we materialized with our collective mischief, but that the mother was convinced it was a demon and that's why she had the forest theft over. Be me at 16. A friend invites me to smoke. Friend suggests we go to a cut. I don't know where it is, so I agree and follow. We walk across town and stop at an abandoned house by my old middle school. Instant bad feeling. There was a lot of rumors about the house. The home's owner allegedly ended himself. A girl from another school went missing some years prior. Last seen by the house. I'm already creeped out but want to get high. So I go in anyway. The inside is dark. All the windows and doors are boarded. We had to get in and out by climbing through a hole in one of the walls. Graffiti and broken glass everywhere. We sit amid the debris and smoke. While we're there, I can hear noises from inside the darkness. Scratching, creaking. We shine a phone light down the dark hall, but something weird happened. The house was small, but the darkness inside was deep. The hallway beside the room where we were looked like it went on forever. More noises, more scratching, louder than before. I'm starting to freak out, but say nothing because my friend would talk shit. My friend says we should explore the house, see if there's anything valuable in it. I'm at my limit, too creeped out. I make up an excuse and say I need to go home and we leave. While we're walking back, I ask him if he heard the sounds in the house. What noises, man? I didn't hear anything. I drop the matter and we part ways. Neither of us went back to that house again after that. Years ago, camping alone, remote area. Not sure I'm not the first human being to set foot here in at least a century. Got fire going, hear twig snap. Worried it's a cougar or coyote. Retrieve AR-15. Set it on the log next to me. Toss more logs on fire. Twig snaps again. Look where I heard the sound. See eyes reflecting firelight. They're frickin' 6 feet off the ground. Owl? Cougar perched in a tree? Bear on its hind legs? Aim super bright surefire at its eyes and turn it on. Trees are lit up like day. Nothing's there. Turn light off. Eyes are there blinking rapidly like the light hurt its eyes. Shine light at them again. Nothing. Turn light off. Eyes blink rapidly again then retreat in the trees. Can hear brush rustling as it moves. WTF. Cradle rifle in lap. Toss more logs on fire. Hear leaves crunching behind me. Fuck, it circled around me. Spin around. Shine flashlight. Nothing's frickin' there but trees and bushes. Turn light off. Eyes blink rapidly, then stare steadily at me. Nope. Climb in the Bronco. Lock all the doors. Sleep in backseat with rifle in my arms. Wake up next morning. My tent is collapsed. Something or someone pulled all the tent pegs and pushed it over. F this campsite.jpg. Move to a different area 2 miles away. This place is full of boulders and near a dry creek bed. Set up camp at the base of a boulder half as big as my house. Build new fire pit. Start fire. Stack firewood. Oh yeah, cooking chili tonight. Hear bush rustling. Damn it, that better be a frickin' possum. Click safety off of rifle. Look all around. There's the eyes again. 6 feet off the ground. Shine flashlight. Nothing there. Light off. Eyes blink rapidly then move. Eyes beginning to circle of fire. Rustling and snapping twigs as they move. Shine light repeatedly. Wiggle it around. Get up and move around trying to see whatever it is. Nothing. All I can see are the eyes reflecting my campfire, and only when the flashlight is off. Watching eyes warily, start creeping towards Bronco. Twig snaps behind me. Spin. See eyes in the trees behind me. Fuck, there's 2 of them. I've got a gun, quit effing around and come out where I can see you. No response. Eyes continue circling the camp. Crunching, rustling, and snapping. F this. Fire is shot at the ground roughly where the feet of one should be. Both pairs of eyes stop and blink a few times. Eyes stand side by side, then disappear like whatever they were turned away from me. Hear them crunching through the brush heading deeper into the woods away from me. Get in the Bronco and lock all the doors again. Don't want to pack my stuff because that involves setting my rifle down and turning my back on those things. Don't want to drive car off without my stuff either. Settle for sitting in the car, sitting up all night in case they come back. Fall asleep around 4 a.m. Wake up at sunrise. My tent is shredded and the aluminum poles bent. Sleeping bag is 20 feet away from camp and partially buried under a pile of leaves. Something pulled my pot off the fire and ate my chili. Nope. Pack my shit and get the frick out of Dodge. 1 month later, tell friends about creepy eyes in the woods. They all think we should go and find out what they are. Maybe it's Bigfoot. Decide we should load for bear. Friend 1 brings his FAL in 1911. Friend 2 brings AK-47 and 357 Magnum. Friend 3 is poor, brings Mossberg shotgun. Bring AR-15 and CZ-75B 9mm. Friend 1's dad says he wants to go too. mostly to keep us out of trouble, and brings his Marlin 4570 and 44 Magnum along. Loans friend 3 another 9mm. Set up camp at Boulder site. Showed him around. Get fire going. Friend's dad breaks out a bottle of Jägermeister and we all share a drink. Just one though. He doesn't want us armed and drunk. Swap spooky stories to get in the mood and discuss Bigfoot documentary on History Channel. Debate why the hell the History Channel has a documentary on Bigfoot. Suddenly hear loud twig snap. Look around. Spot eyes 6 feet off the ground again. Everybody shines flashlights simultaneously. Nothing there. Turn lights off. Eyes blink rapidly. Dude, it's just like you said. Everybody takes turns shining lights and waving them around. Eyes start circling the camp, crunching through the brush. How come we can't see anything when we shine our lights? Sudden crashing noise. Hear rocks sliding and falling. Another pair of eyes blinks on top of the huge boulder, then drops to the ground with a loud thump. Shine lights. Nothing. Eyes start circling camp like the first set. Friend's dad. Fuck this shit, rock and roll. Mad minute. Everyone fires every round their rifle's shotgun at the eyes, then switches to pistols, and keeps shooting when the rifles run empty. Reload. Ears are ringing. Shine lights. See nothing but trees full of bullet holes. Turn lights off. Both pairs of eyes are gone. Search the woods with flashlights but don't find any tracks. Find something like blood on the ground. Looks black under our flashlights. Find nothing else. Feel stupid and crawl into friend one's dad's huge army tent. Chatter in our sleeping bags. Agree we were dumbasses for shooting like maniacs when we didn't know what our targets were. No one will admit we were scared like little chicks and that's why we shot. Finally wear off adrenaline and fall asleep. Wake up. Something is rustling outside the tent. Slide pistol out of holster and loudly snap the safety off. Nearly shit my heart out when a hand clamps over my pistol and the hand holding it. It's friend one's dad. Shh, it's right outside, don't move. Slides out a sleeping bag and stands up. Oh shit, whatever it is, it's rubbing against the tent because the tent wall is bowed in towards us. Friend's dad carefully steps over friend 3 to get closer to the side of the tent. Where's his gun? Suddenly stabs into the side of the tent with the biggest freaking Bowie knife I've ever seen. Something that sounds like a cross between a bear that just got kicked in the balls and a pissed off elephant screams. That entire side of the tent collapses. The others wake up and start yelling. Friend's dad is shouting, "Don't shoot, don't shoot." He's afraid we're gonna shoot each other in a panic. Finally pile out of tent and start frantically waving flashlight and guns in all directions. Nothing. It's dead silent. Me, friends 2 and 3 pile into my Bronco. Friend 1 and his dad into their Suburban. Stay up as long as we can. We all fell asleep. 5 guys hyped up on panic and adrenaline and we all fall asleep. Wake up shortly after sunrise. Tent is collapsed, but hasn't been tampered with. Ice chest is flipped on its side and the contents spilled. Only things missing are a package of lunch meat, all of our beef jerky, we brought a lot, and the bottle of Jaeger. F this, we're going home. Start packing. Friend's dad finds his knife in the tent. It's covered in blood so dark it's almost black. He nopes, cleans it off, and keeps packing. We haul ass out there and stop at a diner for breakfast, waiting for waitress to bring us our food. Try puzzling out what the hell it was that we encountered out there. Friend 2. Wait, the meat makes sense, but why the hell did it steal the Jaeger? Since then, I've spent a lot of time in the woods. It's kinda my job, and seen some weird creepy shit, including things very similar to this encounter. I don't freak out about it now, I'm not gonna fire panic shots into the dark or anything like that. But I do have a healthy respect for whatever it is that's out there, and I don't go into the wilderness without a gun, period. There is something seriously bizarre, unexplainable shit out there. Stay safe. Fuck, they're back. Be me last night. Living house built in 1900 and 1910s. Get in bed around 2 a.m. with my cat, cuddling and watching YouTube. At some point, he gets up and walks to my closet door. Starts flipping the F out and jumps up on the windowsill licking himself like crazy. Starts clawing at the window a ton. Is completely avoiding the floor, only jumping up on my dresser, bed, and window. Feels some liquid start dripping on me. There's nothing on me and nothing comes from the ceiling. Start seeing gray figures pop up around my bed. Grab special Damascus knife I keep next to my bed since it's the holy steel. The figures disappear. A couple seconds later I hear humans screaming outside. Can hear it come up to the porch steps. Loud crack and screaming stops. Hear footsteps come up porch towards windows. See figure move past first window. Goes around corner to second window. It looks like some pale, mangy 7-foot dog with human-like front legs. Starts effing with window. Windows are just wood frames with glass or no locks. Window starts to lift up. Dive out first window with cat and knife. Jump up on railing and climb onto roof just before it reaches me. Waited out till sunrise and boxers on roof with cat. Watch it go into the woods behind house. Get back inside and in bed. Cat finally calms down and goes to bed. I haven't slept yet. This is the third time this happened to me, but it's never been this bad. Alright, time for the weirdest story. Be 11 to 12 years old. Trip to some big ass water park for summer cause no camp this year. I was big into scouts and shit like that at that age. Trip was super cool. Going back home after 3 days of fun. Not even sad cause I'm satisfied with the trip. Suddenly, a feeling comes over me. Dad, I need to take a number 2. Pull up on nearby gas station. Okay Anon, go poop and we're gonna refuel and buy some stuff. Just be quick. Go into toilet. Pick related, expect no mirrors and stall doors were more like the shitty ones at school. Go into the stall on the left. There were 3 stalls and the one in the middle was occupied. Pooping and minding my own business when I hear an ungodly scream. Something like a mix between a deer and a bear. Scared so much I no longer need to poop, but don't want to leave the stall. Hear weird voice or voices, hard to tell. Speaking some weird language. Latin, I think, although not sure. See blood flowing on the floor from the middle stall. Jesus Christ help me.mp3. My stall door shakes violently. Scream like a little girl. Beg for mercy. Everything stops. Blood is gone. Bathroom empty. No clue WTF just happened. Want to get out. Door to outside won't open even though it lacks a lock. The fuck do I do now? Scream for help. Dad hears me. I'll get helping on. Calm down a bit. Turn around. Middle stall is open and I see this massive freaking shadow monster thing. I vividly remember that it was dark with large horns and eyes that reflected light like animal eyes on photos do, but not much besides that. Scream louder than ever in my life as it slowly approaches me. Right when it's like 3 meters from me, some biker with a crowbar who my dad recruited opens the door. They look and see nothing in there. They think I'm crazy. Dad is mad at me for a couple months cause he had to pay for that door. Be me, 8 or 9 maybe. Pretty modern house by all accounts, not very spooky. Occasionally hear a man say hello when upstairs playing. A deep voice, stretching the vowels. Hello. Something old about the voice. Almost strained. Always very clear but never anyone around. Shrug it off. Maybe I can hear the neighbor outside or it's my imagination. Very rational on reflection as modern me would be spooked. One night I am in my bed looking down the hall at my parents' doorway. A hand creeps around the frame and waves to me. Both parents are downstairs. Nope out. Starts screaming. Mom comes upstairs and tell her. Looks around and nothing there. Tells me it must have been a nightmare. I don't think so. Creeped out now. A short while later, parents are at home but both outside. Little sister, 5 or 6, and I are playing at the top of the stairs. Hello. I look at my sister. She clearly heard it too. Did you hear that? I ask. I hear it all the time. We both hear a loud laugh. The same voice of a strained old man. But there is something wicked now. Malicious. We both scream. Run downstairs. Down the hall. Out the yard. Upstairs to the road. Both parents are washing the car. No one else is around. Burst into tears. We move shortly after. My sister and I vividly remember this day still. Almost 30 years later. Be me. Few years back. Way past midnight. Trying to sleep. Have big mirror that's on the side of the bed. Looking into the mirror. Close my eyes. Open them again. Not myself the one I see on the mirror. Bright red eyes looking back instead of mine. A smile that's way bigger than my mouth. Has sharp teeth. Almost shit my pants moment. Sit on the bed scared. Me on the mirror again. Step up immediately and turn on the light. Thinking I would not be able to sleep anyway. Go to the bathroom to wash my face. Using the towel to dry my face. Cover my eyes with the towel while drying. Uncover them. For an instant, I see the same scary face on the bathroom mirror. Couldn't sleep nor look at mirrors for a few days. Still scared of looking myself in mirrors till this day. Still wanting to nuke my entire house from orbit. Experience is 100% real. Keep browsing X. Keep seeing guys on here explore haunted sites to no avail. Convince myself this is all a big joke and ghosts are made up. Decide to explore an abandoned school in the countryside that's supposedly haunted to confirm my own thesis. Don't give in to the initial jitters or paranoia. Just explore the place. Enter a classroom. It's completely barren. No sign of life. Exit classroom. Hear footsteps inside the room I just left. Shit a little bit. Gulp. Stay frozen. Footsteps are clearly moving towards me. They become more violent, fast, and heavy. Run for my dear life. Footsteps behind me treading with cruel intentions. Ran so fast I literally wandered into the open fields until I had no air in my lungs. Never, ever again. I don't even look at the pictures that I took of that place. One more story before work gets busy. This one comes from a pal who worked at a munitions facility. The place was apparently haunted, and he shared his most intense experience with me. To get started, let's pull directly from my notes. Yes, I have notes and quote some of what this guy actually said. I've seen disembodied legs walking around the facility, heard all sorts of noises, seen full shadow people in my direct line of sight. These shadows seem to absorb surrounding light like a black hole. With that said, here's his story, as he told it to me starting from the beginning. So I was working at a munitions facility for the government. Lots of people have died there. If you worked there and didn't have a sighting of some sort, then you were the odd one out. One night, me and my work friend were upstairs loading the propellant extruder with a billet of powder. We usually have it timed to a T so that we're both finished and walking out of the charging bay at the same time. Friend cleans the ring off while I drop the billet in. Easy money. But then we both turn at the same time to look behind us and find a man standing there, wearing a white set of coveralls. His face looks sunken in. Just as soon as he was there, he was gone. The actual sight of him left me feeling almost sick. I looked at my friend and he looked sick too. We both actually wasted a few charging cycles recovering from this. I felt like someone had punched me in the gut. Finally, we both went to clean up and quit for the night. Decided we'd tell the supervisor what happened since we had to explain the production numbers. The super had been there for 30 years. When I described the guy we had seen, he told us that he knew that guy. He died in an accident in Bay 3 about 17 or 18 years before. I asked this buddy of mine if he could give me the name of the company. He said it used to be called Hercules, but it's since changed hands a few times and has a different name now. Be very young, like maybe 4 or 5. Staying at grandmother's house while we're in the process of moving. Have to sleep alone upstairs. Wake up at night and I hear someone coming up the stairs. Call out, Tommy, as I think it's my brother. Hear a sick, raspy breathing, followed by lip smacking and then moaning. Look out open bedroom down dark hallway. See hunched over shape slowly ascending staircase. I'm literally paralyzed with fear. I still remember that kind of fear. Primal, blinding in its ferocity. I remember the words it started to say to me as it shambled down the hall toward my room. But I honestly can't type them. I'm literally tearing up as I think about them. I could see it out there, in the dim hall light. It was a woman. A very, very old woman. Like mummified woman. I started crying. Suddenly, from down the hall, my grandma appears, leaning on her cane. Edith, you'll not touch him. The old hag stops in the hall. You will leave this house, Edith. You no longer live here. I pass out. The next morning, it all felt like a dream, but I asked my grandma anyway. Hesitantly, she says it was just an old witch who used to live in the house before my grandparents bought it in the 50s. Tells me to never speak of it again. Nothing strange ever happened in that house again. Worked at a nursing home. This one lady was always talking about Mary. Mary's doing well today. Mary's coming to visit, etc. One night I had to work late. Others warned me about her at nights. I could handle one old woman. Woman with dementia didn't want to go to bed. I was trying to convince her to go to bed. She kept insisting that Mary is coming. I say sure, okay, go to bed. She continues, growing intensity. I be stern and authoritative. Mary's coming. Mary's gonna get you. I force her into bed. She doesn't react well. Mary's here. I feel a big cold meaty hand on my shoulder. Pulls me up from leaning over the bed. With that job. I have something. Be me last summer. Be wanting to complete Stalker Challenge. Abandoned cement barge beached on a sandbar and wooded coastline. Seems like the perfect place to camp. Brought a WASR, 2 magazines. All the magazines I had at the time. Was poor. Went to check out this barge. It was pretty sick. There were barnacles growing on some of it, so I assumed that at high tide it was partially submerged. It had a cargo hold and an upper deck. There were 2 portholes in the upper deck, with rusty ladders that descended down into the cargo hold. Decided to camp on the beach where the sandbar connects with dry land, because I didn't want to drown in my sleeping bag if high tide completely covered the vessel somehow. Explored the barge just a little more first. Noticed some rusted out metal stuff in a little square pool on the upper deck. Reached down into the water, pulled out a rifle casing. Recognized it as a nugget food casing. Wait till Kay hears about this. Finally get finished closely examining all the cool old rusted bits of the barge. Valves, mooring, etc. Head over to the beach to make camp. Paste it off. It's 60 or so yards from the barge. Not quite Stalker Challenge legal, but safety first, right? What's 10 yards? Make a little fire pit with rocks for shiggles. Put driftwood in it. Whipped out the Zippo. Lit her up. Looked at my watch. It was about 4. Pick related. Kind of shows the shoreline I was camped on. Pick related also shows the part of the upper deck where the barge was split in 2. Anyhow, sitting on the beach in front of a weak-ass fire. WASR laying by my side. Pull out a green plastic dollar store harmonica. No idea how to play it, just make noises with it. Start doing the Jaws theme with it for shiggles. Laugh at my own cleverness. Try to do something like the national anthem. Hear laughter coming from the trees. Stop playing. Look over. Hello? Laughter continues. Same tone as before. It kinda sounds like me, come to think of it. Begin to smell something kinda metallic. Smell is kinda salty too. I was camped by the sound, mind you, so it was already a little salty. But this smell was saltier than normal. It's still only 5, not quite sundown. I'm scanning the tree line, but I don't see nothing. Reach for my harmonica to resume playing. Realize the salty metallic smell kind of resembles blood. In fact, it strongly resembles the smell of blood. Same laugh comes from the woods. Begin to put 2 and 2 together. Chamber around a WASR. Hello? Sit there, staring at the woods for a long ass time. Nothing. Cook my beans on the fire, glancing over at the woods periodically. Just as the sun is going down, hear hello come at me from the woods. That sounds a lot like me. Nope the fuck out of there, not JPEG. Packed my shit in a flash, ran to the barge. Pick related was taken 2 weeks prior while hiking with a buddy. We spent all of the 5 minutes there and continued on our way. Anyways, darted to the barge. Leapt inside. Frantically climbed up onto the upper deck. Jumped across the crack onto the bow. Went prone, aimed my WASR back out across the sandbar. Eyes golf ball wide. Sit like that a while. Check watch periodically. Just as the sun finishes setting, realize I'm gonna want some fire. Go down onto the sandbar, rifle slung at the ready, gather up a little driftwood. Light a rather weak fire on the deck. Make one last trip just at the beginning of dusk. Find some good wood. Fire achieves respectable size. Spend the first few hours of the night rifle shouldered, prone, aiming down the sandbar. Remember that several of my relatives suffer various mental illnesses. You probably just hallucinated that shit, Anon. You need to go get that checked out, I tell myself. Then I hear the heavy breaking of brush from the coastline, and something muffled blows to me on the breeze. Laughter, and a pretty unpleasant smell. Oh shit. Hold my rifle tight. Point it threateningly at the coast. It's pretty well dark by now. Remember I brought a flashlight. Go over to my pack laying on the deck by the stern. Get it. Come back. Shine it down along the sandbar. See something glint as I sweep. Swing beam back onto the gleaming thing. 2 little dots. Eyes. Freaking eyes. Something big and dark is attached to them. It's pretty damn tall. It's just standing there halfway down the sandbar. Can't see it well. Low battery and it's kind of far away. Try to tell myself it's just an animal. That's one big ass animal. Is it a bear? Human eyes don't glow in the dark, so it can't be a person. Can't hurt to shoot at it, right? Chamber a round. A live round is ejected and skitters across the deck. I already chambered one on the beach. I'm a dumbass. Go prone. Take aim. Touch one off. If only I had a flash hider instead of a slanted brake. Blinded for what felt like an eternity. Blinking frantically in hopes of restoring my sight the whole time. Get to the point where I can see again. Frantically shine my mag light all up and down the sandbar. No eyes. Maybe I scared it off. Hear the crunching of gravelly sand below me. Somebody says hello. Once again, it sounds a hell of a lot like me. In full panic mode. Stand on the railing. point WASR over the side, mag dump. Hear and see nothing for a good long while. Settle in, got my legs in a sleeping bag, had an arms out with the WASR aimed at the portholes that lead from the hold up onto the deck. A couple of hours pass, my eyelids get heavy. Hear that laugh again, this time it's below me. Nearly wet myself in sheer terror, begin focusing intently. Hear small waves lapping up against the side of the barge. The tide has risen. After 10 minutes or so, begin to hear sloshing in the hold below. Something's walking around down there, and it's beginning to fill with water. There's only one direction this can go now. Up. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Hello? Scream, shut the fuck up. Shove my WASR down the porthole. Blind fire like a madman. There goes all my ammo. Heart is hammering. Slowly back away from the porthole. Heard something clanging against the metal. It's climbing the ladder. Unsheathed my bayonet. I don't know how that thing fit through the porthole, but it did. Fight or flight engages. There's nowhere to run to. Charge. Screaming. It happened in a flash. The bayonet plunged into the thing. A heavy paw or something. Bitch slapped me across the chest and I went tumbling off the barge into the drink. I now have no WASR and I'm in the water. Play dead. Lay on my back. Hope it doesn't see me. Heart is pounding uncontrollably still. Not worried about hypothermia cause it's June. Slowly drift away with the current. See a hulking silhouette next to the fire as I drift off. Current dumps me on the beach a few miles east. Hike home. Never go near that place again. Okay X, I've been wanting to tell you this for a while. For some background, I work in a petrol station located on the highway. Mostly night shifts 3 p.m. to midnight. So I'm used to the weird, the creepy, and the downright paranormal. But this. Normal shift. People coming and going. It's about 7. Things are dark and stores slowing down a bit. Behind console area. Look to my left and lock eyes, not that I could mind you, with a woman. Frail, thin, elderly with wrinkled skin and giant fly-eyed sunglasses on that cover half her face. Immediately get the jitters from her. She walks slowly to the door. I had to manually make it open to let her in as the outer doors didn't pick her up. Makes her way to the console. Stares at me. Can't tell. Still wearing those creepy sunnies. Can you come outside and take a look at my car? I think something's wrong. Voice is soft in volume but deep in resonating. Like I felt it more than I heard it. Decline. Explain policy with leaving as only staff on site. Okay then. She walks off to the toilet. Now here's where alarm bells starting going off. Serving other customers, stragglers here and there. She comes out of the bathroom after 5 minutes. Walks over to me again. There's no toilet paper. Could you come get me some? Alarm bells. Something in my head says not to go out there. Get some staff toilet paper from behind console. Here you go, ma'am. Her demeanor is sour, or as far as I can tell with those freaking sunnies. Okay. She walks back into the toilet. About another 5 minutes she walks back out and wanders around the shop. I watch her and notice she flicks her head in my direction every now and then, like scanning me. She walks to the coffee machine then calls out to me. Her voice is louder this time, but it feels more like a knife this time, shrill and freezing. There's no milk in here, can you replace it? I'd like a coffee. I know I should do it, but fuck every something freaking up alarm in my body and brain was screaming not to. Decline, and say I can't leave the console at this hour of the night. She gets visibly annoyed, saying how shitty my customer service is. She threatens to contact my manager if I don't come out and change the milk. Decline and apologize, even off manager's number. She tries 3 more times to get me out there over the next 20 minutes. Finally gives up and walks off, glaring at me through the windows as she rounds the shop out of sight. Rest of shift goes by without a hitch. No creepy things. Surprisingly mellow and normal shift. Still have a sense of dread in my stomach. Swap over and leave at 12:30 a.m. Walking to my car about 50 meters in the parking lot. As I get closer, the freaking glasses, scarf, and gloves she was wearing around folded neatly. The glasses resting on top and a pile on the ground by my driver's side door. Look around, sense of dread intensifying. Quick as a flash, I unlock my car, jump in, and lock it again. No time to relax, start car, and gun it out of there. Never been so fearful in my life. The sense of dread never left. I got home and needed a few drinks before I could loosen up enough to even consider sleep. Be 16-year-old tard. Visit grandparents in a very rural area frequently. Go for night walks in her woods. Take cousin with me one night. Moon is really bright. Leave flashlight at home for more spooks. Decide to try a new trail we've never walked before. Get lost, of course. Roam around for hours trying to go the direction we came from. Fail miserably. Deep forest. Way darker than the part we came from. Smells like something died nearby. Smell comes from the very direction we're heading. Decide to still go there because we're convinced it's the general direction of our village. Come to a small overgrown field with an old, clearly abandoned house. These are pretty common in the area. Stop and try to get signal or check maps. No luck. Give up on saving battery and turn on phone flashlight. Go towards the cabin hoping to find a landline phone. Obviously it would be disconnected, but we were desperate. Dead animal smell is clearly coming from the house. There are some faint wettish sounds coming from the house. Would never hear it if not for the fact that the forest was completely quiet. Stop in the doorway whispering to my cousin that we should probably leave. Don't be a pussanon. F you, I'm going.jpg. First room is totally ruined. Someone must have searched it for valuables. Smell is pretty much unbearable, so go around the room as quickly as possible. No phone, of course. Go to the other room. Cousin right behind me. I shine the shitty phone flashlight into the room. It takes us a good few seconds to register what we're seeing. There's a badly decomposed carcass on the ground. Can't really tell what animal it is. 3 deer standing over it. They lift their heads up in unison. Their mouths are covered with brown decomposing blood. There's some kind of tissue hanging from one's mouth. One of these effers turns towards us and stands on its hind legs perfectly upright. Fight or flight kicks in. I book it out the cabin after cousin. Turn around. One of the deer is standing. Yes, standing on 2 legs on the porch with tissue of whatever poor critter was eating still hanging out of its mouth. Cry and shit my pants a little. We run in a completely random direction, tripping over fallen trees and getting slapped in the face by bushes. Cousin runs face first into a huge spider web. He's terrified of spiders. Stops and starts yelling he can feel it under his shirt. Tell him to shut the fuck up. He does, sobbing slightly. We hear a faint sound of twigs breaking behind us. I shine phone flashlight into the brush. 3 pairs of eyes reflecting light in the distance. Run, cousin Anon, run. We keep getting effed by bushes. Whatever spider was under his shirt has surely fallen out or died from all the twig slaps we endured, but he keeps sobbing. After what felt like a marathon, we run out to a dirt road. Follow it until we see houses. See street sign pointing to our village. We're saved, Anon. Walk back to the village in complete silence. By the time we arrive, the sun is up. Cousin only speaks up as we step on the porch. Anon, did you see what these deer were eating? A decomposing animal. Why? There were scraps of clothing on the body. My face when deer ate a dead guy. Be me, 15 years old. Mother died when I was 12. Brain tumor. Horrible scene. But she was a truly evil chick and I lived comfy ever after with my dad, having not seen him for 3 years before her death because of her. It's the 90s. Dad doesn't finish work till about 6 p.m. So house to myself after school. Watching TV alone. Massive crash from master bedroom. Like a brick came through the window or someone had fallen out of bed. I'm not scared. I feel angry. Frickin' furious. Charge up the stairs. Straight to master bedroom. The room my mom died in. Doors closed. Tear it open. There had been an enormous stack of board games on the wardrobe. Stacked neatly against the wall. They're all over the bedroom. Monopoly money. Trivial Pursuit question cards. Bits of Cluedo. Connect 4 counters. Battleship pegs. God knows what else. Whatever did that must have thrown those boxes in one go with such force they hit the opposite wall at about the same height they'd left the original wall at. 10 feet away. Suddenly terrified. Run downstairs. Straight to front door. Nowhere to go. Sit on step. Younger sister, about 13 at the time, comes home from somewhere half an hour later. Ask what I'm doing. Tell her. Doesn't question it. We go inside and back to the room. She is completely calm. Says we have to clean it up so dad doesn't worry. We do. Nothing else happened. Nothing like that anyway. Talking about it with sis years later. She goes quiet at first. Then tells me this kind of shit used to happen all the time in the house. Mainly electrical appliances getting turned on by themselves. Lights turned off by themselves. I don't know. But I saw what happened to those board games and there was no question in my mind at all that whatever did that wasn't human. Scared myself thinking about it now. Haven't thought about it for years. Just thinking about what I could make into a Greentext. Brought it back. Okay, wow. I didn't know that skinwalkers or goatmen or whatever were a thing. Allegedly a thing. So I always thought I was the only one who'd experienced something like this. Like maybe it was a hallucination or something. But after reading some of these stories, I'm starting to think maybe there's something there. Here's what happened. A few years ago, living with parents. Step out for a cigarette at about 2 a.m. Mom hated cigarettes. Had to sneak out back by the woods, smoking. Noticed my neighbor Sean down at the edge of the woods, looking at me. WTF. Wave at him. He just stands there. Suddenly it's hard to breathe. Like the air is thick. Kind of humid, I guess. And it smells the way pennies taste. Kick myself for being a scaredy cat. Take a drag from a cigarette. Smoke gets in my eye. If this happened to you, you know that it hurts like a bitch. I'm forced to close my eyes and rub them for a few seconds. Look up and Sean is closer to me. Like he'd walked from the edge of the forest, but now he stopped and standing still again. What was he doing in the forest anyway? WTF is going on? He waves, but it's like he's jerking his arm instead of moving it fluidly. Like he's not sure what he's doing with it. What the frick, what the frick? Put out the cigarette without taking eyes off him. Back into the door and go in. Shut the door, peek out window. He's staring right the frick at me. Closer to the house. Maybe 10 or 15 yards away. Lock door, sprint upstairs. Lock every door in the house. Go to double check every door. Double checking basement door. He's standing right outside the window staring at me. His jaw is kinda drooping. When I look at him, he does the jerking wave again. Scream with the force of 1,000 suns. Run upstairs. Encounter stepdad. He's like, WTF are you screaming for, Anon? I tell him there's someone outside. He gets his gun and checks. No one there. Ask neighbor about it at dinner one day. He doesn't know what I'm talking about. F skinwalkers. Be me. Around 5 or 6. Family moves into a new house. Small rural town. Out in the boonies and on the backgrounds. Some decent homes here spread out a bit. Neighbors on the right and directly in front of us. Houses under a giant willow tree, and during summers and on hot days, my sister and I would play under it and swing under the branches. House across the road from us is inhabited by an elderly couple. The old man and woman would always sit on the porch and watch us kids play. We got used to waving at them and seeing them wave back. Even my mother was in the habit to cheerfully wave. Few months go by. Stepdad befriends someone at his new work who lived in the house on the right of us some years back. Stepdad has let him know the house we're staying in and has casually mentioned how nice the neighbors across the street are. Man is confused. Begins asking my stepdad to describe the couple. Turns out the man knows of them. But to my stepdad's disbelief, he informs them that they both died together of carbon monoxide poisoning in the home some years back. Not long after, we leave the house. My folks still don't like to talk about it, and I was at such a young age that it's hard to remember the exact sequence of events. But this is based on my memories and what I've been informed by my 2 older siblings. Absolutely true story, and both my parents are still convinced we saw the apparitions of an elderly couple who were just really friendly. Sharing this because I found a similar story in the archive once, hoping to find others with a similar experience. Poor. Growing up in a rundown part of town. Lots of old warehouses and abandoned brick buildings. Tons of alleyways which are fun to explore. Have this girl who lives near me. Tells me she found a weird alley where she can't hear anything. Not sure what she means, so I follow her. She takes me to an alley that I've always avoided. No real reason, it just always creeped me out. Keep in mind, the neighborhood is not busy at all. Not many passing cars or anything. Plus, we're in an alleyway, so it's super quiet. But then as we're walking down the alley, everything goes dead silent. The girl stops, looks me in the eyes, and points to her ears. I nod, because I feel something like a pressure, similar to the feeling you get on a plane. Girl starts talking and shouting and stamping her feet, but I can't hear shit. I try to talk and can't hear anything. Feeling creeps me out and I turn to leave the alley. Notice I can't hear my footsteps until I pass a certain crack in the concrete. Then the pressure goes away and we can hear stuff again. We talked about it a lot after that, but I personally never went in again. Seems like this must have some sort of mundane explanation, but nobody has ever been able to provide one. My 18th birthday, October. Live out in the country in Tennessee. Dark as all kinds of fuck. Perfect chilly weather. Around 25 people all gathered at my house. We're playing manhunt. One guy runs off into the woods. Everyone else waits an hour, then hunts him with paintball guns. Plan on multiple rounds through the night. Couple rounds go by. No big deal. My 10-year-old brother draws the short straw. Almost didn't let him go hide, but he begged. What could happen? We tried to find him for 6 hours. Eventually find him terrified in a honey perch staying in a tree. Friend who found him said he kicked him in the face and almost knocked him off the tree at first. I ask him why. He tells me that he heard me trying to find him below the perch hours earlier. He peeks out. It isn't frickin' me. It isn't a frickin' person. It stayed below the tree calling his name for a few hours. Ran off when it heard us coming to actually find him. WTF, guys. I had a weird experience when I was 6 or 7. Get bus with mother and brother often because no car. Brother is 6 years older and we couldn't be more different. He's very roguish and uncontrollable while I'm the opposite. That being said, he's still my older brother and therefore a role model and someone I emulate or try to. Has this habit of sitting inside of the luggage rack, particularly if there aren't any seats. Pick is the closest I could find, it's that opening under the stairs. Obviously not allowed in there because it's for luggage. Gets told off every time he does it, but he doesn't care. Get on the bus this one morning with my mother and without brother. Awful day. Cold. Raining. Dull AF. Typical British weather. No seats, bus is packed, and half the stand. Only being young and therefore short. Everyone's damn coats are pressing against my cute little face. Feels horrible. F this, I'm going to chat it up in the luggage rack. Climb in luggage rack. This is a mistake. Severely claustrophobic and already lots of wet bags in there. If anything, this is more uncomfortable. People start throwing more bags in and now I feel like I can't get out. Stuck in the corner behind the driver's seat. Get this sensation like I'm falling and there's a light behind me. Grab onto what I can to stop falling. Looking over my shoulder. Hard to describe this part. It's like I'm looking down on a nice sunny bustling town, but no one there can see me. Realize I'm not falling. It's more like I'm being sucked into a hole and into this sunny inviting town. Next thing I know, someone has hold of my arm and pulls me from the luggage rack. It's the bus driver. Bus has stopped. My mother is crying because she couldn't find me. Everyone is staring at me like when Kevin McAllister F's up the kitchen in Home Alone. Get told off by both the bus driver and my mother. Were looking for me for a good 15 minutes. Couldn't have been in the luggage rack for more than a minute or two. Normal day walking around home. Start going down the hallway to get to my room. At the end of the hallway is a bathroom with a stained sliding glass door for the shower. See what looks like my brother standing in the shower clothed with the door closed. Call out to my brother. What are you doing in the shower, Nan? No response. Call out again. Suddenly, my brother starts slamming his hands against the stained glass. Anan, what the frick are you doing? Start walking to the bathroom at the end of the hallway. He's just banging on the glass over and over. As I reach the shower, he stops banging. I grab the door and slide it open. As the glass passes over my brother's image, he vanishes with the glass. No one is in the shower. Close the shower door. Nothing there. Hear the backyard door open and shut. Run down the hall to see who it is. It's my brother. Ask him if he was just in the shower. He looks at me like I'm tarded. Few weeks ago, lying in bed in the dark, fully awake, but trying to sleep. Hear the cat walk into the room. Feel and hear him jump up on the bed and curl up between me and boyfriend. Cat's curled up behind my knees. Think nothing of it. Then think, is that definitely the cat? Scared. Muster up the courage to sit up and look. Cat's not there. As I'm typing this out, he just lifted up his head and stared at me. Be on a ship. Working at night alone. Hear singing coming from far away. When I look in the direction of the sound is coming from, it stops. I just ignore it for the next hour. Think maybe a fisherman singing. The voice starts becoming louder and louder. Sun is already rising. The voice is so loud coming right from right next to our ship. I go and check around. The voice stops. There is nothing. No boats, not anything. When the sun set, the voice stopped. I'm skeptic, but I can't explain what happened that night. Visit area my mother's family are from. Her brother and his family still live there. I'm about 17 at the time. Go wandering about outside. Isn't that hot, but then it feels like I'm on the surface of the sun. Everything looks and feels sorta like 2D. Think I have a heat stroke. See small pub. Go there for drink. Not alcohol. Pretty much empty and dated AF. See two guys at table talking. They look very familiar. Keep looking at them. They notice. Eventually, one comes over, menacingly, and asks why do I keep looking. Suddenly know who they are. They're my two uncles. It's me, Anan. Who? Your sister's son, Anan. Start reeing at me that sister's only 12. Very definitely not my uncles. Haha, just memeing bros, I'm a doctor. Boyish good looks gives this ruse away. Blood could be spilled. Run out the doors and back to uncle's house. Still hot as fuck. When I get back to his place, it doesn't seem so hot anymore. Have a peculiar first name. So much that no one calls me by it except for myself and my mother, and everyone else uses a shortened version. Like Jonathan and John, for example, except more rare. Haven't seen uncle since I was a young ankle biter. We sit out back and start talking. Accidentally calls me by my full first name. Literally grimaces at it. Ask what's up with it. Tells me that back in the 70s, him and his brother were in the pub when someone called that started trying to dab on them. When they chased him out of the pub, he totally disappeared. My mother overheard him telling this to his parents that same night. My mother loved the name. To him, it was cursed. Don't know if I've always been cursed or if I somehow named myself. Live in an extremely old house. 3 stories including the attic. No one ever goes into the attic. Hasn't been open in about 10 years. I sleep in a room that is under the end of the attic. Every night I would hear thumps coming from upstairs, like someone was walking around or stomping. They were muffled, but I could hear them. Never think much of it. Figure it's a heater kicking on or something until a few years pass. We took all the carpet out of the attic so it was all bare wood floors. While it was open, I decided to go up and check out what's over my room. There was a noticeable indentation over the portion of the carpet that is above my room. It's in the shape of 2 half circles that come to points, and about the size of my hand. After they ripped the carpet up to reveal the flooring that's over my room, we found a ritual circle, pentagram with around 80 symbols surrounding it, all carved into the wood with dried blood and candle wax on each one. Now I'm really freaked out. All those years I've been hearing an actual thing stomp. After a few nights, the thumps came back. This time, instead of a muffled thump, it was obvious something hard was banging on the wood floor. Sounds like hoofs clopping on a patio. After they removed the ritual circle, they stopped for good. Still wonder what would have happened if I actually went upstairs during the stomps. Just moved out of parents' house. Sleep across from computer screen. Office chair is facing computer. Wake up. Someone is sitting in the chair facing the computer. Door locked, roommate not home. Nope my way to sleep. Wake up later. No one sitting in chair. Relief until I realize chairs turn towards me now. Nope. Turn every light on. Watch SpongeBob. F this eclipse shit, I'm tired of it. Let's get a proper X thread going. Post creepy, weird, and unexplainable stuff that happened to you or others close to you, but had no reoccurrence and never bothered you again. Can be Greentext or not. I'll start. Be Euroanon on work trip to Florida. Stay at resort with coworker for 3 days. Last night before checkout, getting drunk at bar. Coworker comes down to bar. Looks pale AF. Says he saw a ghost in his room. Clown on him. Agree to swap rooms for the lulls. Switch rooms. Go to bed and a few hours later wake up to noises in bathroom. Investigate the bathroom. Find nothing. Return to the room. See shadow figures sitting by my bedside. Stand there in disbelief. Blink a few times and it vanishes. It all happened so fast, but I know what I saw. I'm freaking terrified. It's almost 5 a.m., so I just stay awake. Sitting in the armchair looking at the bed for what seemed like an endless amount of time. Eventually it's time to get up, take a shower and go grab breakfast and pack up. Coworker and I never talk about this again. A few days later I did some research and it turns out we stayed at a haunted resort called Casa Monica. There have been many reports of hauntings there, especially on room 411 and 511. That night I slept in room 410. F that place and F Florida. Can't even sleep without getting harassed by shadows and shit. 2009. Be me. 18. Young, dumb metalhead in Greater Houston area. Go to concert with equally young, dumb metalhead buddy. Concert ends around midnight. Mill around for a while. Then jump in his car to head home. Car is shitty, but otherwise reliable Mazda sedan from the 90s. Drive home jamming to death metal and acting like tards. Eventually have to exit from highway to farm roads that lead to my neighborhood. Fields are pitch freaking black. No streetlights. Just darkness except for what old halogen headlights illuminate. All of a sudden, car just dies. Literally nothing is working. Clenched tight enough to taste my seat upholstery, but managed to pull off on his shoulder. Buddy and I hop out. I pop the hood to see if I can find what's wrong. He walks to the back of the car to try to get signal and call for help. As I'm feeling under the hood by potato phone light, hear Buddy walk up beside me. Asks what's wrong with it. Tell him I'm too tired to know. I then hear him again from the back of the car ask who I'm talking to. I look up and see my buddy's silhouette beside me in the moonlight. Then I look at the back of the car and see his same silhouette back there. I bail, fleeing into the nearby field. Eventually, we regroup and decide to return to the car where we can at least lock ourselves inside. Back at the car, no sign of not Buddy. Hop in, lock doors, turn key. Car starts like normal. Peel out and speed home. A week later, my buddy denies it ever happened. He kept denying it until we had a falling out about 10 years ago. He's disappeared and no one has seen them in a while. Be me, age 7. Mom left dad for an aging bassist in a shit-tier hair band. She ends up ODing on heroin a few years later. Whatever, F her. Only child. Dad raises me the best he can. Have no other family except an uncle that my dad refuses to talk to, and one grandpa in a nursing home. Be 14. Grandpa dies. Dad and uncle inherit about $2 million each. Grandpa had a textile company that he sold if you're wondering how he got rich. Saw uncle around that time because him and dad had to get all the shit in order with the grandpa situation. He's glad to see me. We talk and catch up a bit. Dad still hates his guts, but he never says why. He just mumbles under his breath as he changes the subject or pretends he needs to go do something around the house. I don't really ask about it anymore, but I did hear that my uncle did good with his money and started buying up land. Fast forward to high school. We find out dad has cancer in his throat. Try to be optimist, but it doesn't look good. Use up a lot of the money on treatment. I postpone going to college to stay with him so he isn't alone. Ends up dying when I'm 21. I have little under 10 grand in the house after all is said and done. Work shitty jobs here and there. Get a girlfriend. She cheats on me after 2 years. She lives with me so I can't kick her out right away. Say F it. Take an extended amount of time off from job and drive off to get away from the situation. Have no one in my life that is close to me now. Feel hopeless and depressed. Drive aimlessly around the country. Hit some famous places along the way. Grand Canyon, etc. See a bunch of tourists with their happy families. Get super lonely. Decide to try and find my uncle. Takes a lot of searching, but eventually I get a number of a guy that keeps an answering machine for my uncle. Apparently uncle lives off-grid in the cabin by himself and doesn't keep a phone or anything there. Anyway, don't want to hang around and wait for a call back. Drive to where he lives. Get to the guy's place who keeps uncle's answering machine. Old retired guy. Pretty friendly. He tells me there isn't a road to my uncle's cabin. There's only a trail through the woods. It's like 10 miles, so the guy lends me an old mountain bike and tells me I can leave my car at his place. I get my bag with all my essentials and thank him before I head out. Start wondering how uncle will react to me dropping in on him after so long. Kinda nervous. Pass a few ponds and small lakes. I can't believe uncle owns all this land. Get the cabin. Uncle is outside and staring at me like a psycho. He seems kinda paranoid. I yell to him and tell him it's me. He lines up a bit. Seems happy to see me. Get the "you've grown so much, didn't recognize you." Get inside and we start catching up. He makes some food. I tell him my situation. He says I can stay with him for a while. Feels good. Next day we just hang out. I see he has a ton of journals that he's been writing in every day since he was 10. My dad has some too, but he quit after a couple years. Uncle said I can read them if I don't mind seeing some mildly questionable shit. I guess he was pretty honest when he wrote. Spend a lot of time reading those journals. Learning more about dad's family. Eventually I want to get some stuff that my uncle didn't have at his cabin. Mainly beer. In the morning, go back to car and head to the nearest place for some supplies. Shitty gas station. Get back and ready to hit the trail again. Old man comes out and I talk to him a bit more. He asks about family history. Tell him dad and uncle didn't get along. He tells me dad might have something to do with the lake disappearance. What disappearance? Apparently a long time ago, this area was a popular camping and canoeing spot. People would pay like a regular campground and carry their canoes in there. Uncle used to live in a different spot, and he would come here every year when he was younger. Old guy tells me that one year a dude disappeared there. His tent was all torn up and there was blood everywhere. Only other person on record that was there was my uncle. There was an investigation and everything. My uncle got cleared eventually and the dude was never found. I asked the dude what he thinks happened, and he says he has no idea, and that I should ask my uncle what happened. This was really unnerving at the time. I figured this was why my dad broke off contact with my uncle. Head back to uncle's with the beer and other goodies. Not gonna lie, that information changed my image of my uncle. Decide not to bring it up right away, but I really want to know what his story is. We drink beer and just hang outside. I ask him if I could take out the canoe the next day. He says sure, but I can only go in specific spots. Don't bother asking why. He starts to make something for us to eat. I sit and read more journals. Decide to try and find a journal for the year that the disappearance happened. Start going through it when I get to a spot that had like 5 pages ripped out. And the way it looked seemed like my uncle had done it recently. All the other journals that I had looked through had all their pages, so I was pretty sure he did this at some point after I took interest in the journals. I decide not to bring it up. We eat and hang out some more and go to sleep. The next day I want to head out in the canoe and paddle around a bit. He gives me some pointers and tells me to stay only on this one lake. Okay, sure. I paddle around for a while, hugging the shore mostly. Kinda scared to go into deeper water. Eventually lose sight of the cabin. It's a nice day. Lots of wildlife. I see an odd looking area offshore. There are a bunch of chopped down trees and it's really overgrown, but it looked like something used to be there. I decide to check it out and find out it's an old overgrown trail. Also, it looks like someone tried to cover it up with logs and debris to hide it. Too curious to leave it alone. Get out and walk through the thick vegetation. Follow what is left of the trail for about a quarter mile. Come out to a different lake. It is dead quiet. No wind, no animal sounds, no bugs. Get a super weird feeling like someone is watching me. Start walking out to the rocky shore. Realize it's way too quiet here. Even the water seemed to be too still. Decide to go back to the canoe and head back to the cabin. Uncle is out and waves to me, asks me how it was, tell him it was fun, ask him about the other lake. His face goes blank as he looks off in that direction, says he told me not to go to any other lakes. I tell him I just walked there, I didn't take the canoe over. He tells me to never go there again or I would have to leave. Tells me he doesn't want me going in the canoe again. He seems pissed. Okay, whatever. He disappears for a while. I decide to get more beer. Get back to cabin and Uncle still isn't there. I decide to hold off on a beer and make something to eat. Uncle gets back and he's pretty quiet. Things are kinda tense. I just end up sitting around till bedtime. Next day, Uncle's in a better mood. Apologizes for being a dick. We start drinking beer. He goes through most of them and loosens up a lot. I guess he really needed to take the edge off. I ask him why Dad and him never got along. He just kinda brushes it off. I ask him if it has something to do with the incident on the lake. He gets quiet for a moment and asks me what I know about it. I tell him what the old guy told me. He gets quiet for a really long time and just stares off in the direction of the lake with the overgrown trail. Maybe it was because he was drunk, or maybe it was because he was tired of keeping it to himself. But he told me where he hid the missing journal pages. He told me to make of it what I wanted, but that what he wrote was the truth. He got up and went for a walk. I went to the spot in the cabin where he hid the pages and started reading them. First page is from the day before his trip out. It didn't really have anything too interesting on it. Mostly a list of all that he took on his camping trip and what he ate in the weather, which he documented every day. The next 2 pages were from the same day. They were about him arriving at the park hoping he was the first person there that season so that he can camp wherever he wanted. He found out that there was already another guy out in the lakes who went in the night before. I guess back when the land was a campground, it was a lot easier to access a lot of areas, so it didn't take long to get to the lakes with his canoe. He had a specific lake that he liked to stay at and he was hoping to have it all to himself, or at least his favorite spot, which was a small island in the lake. When he got onto the lake, he saw smoke on the island and a red tent, so he was disappointed that his spot was taken. Eventually, he settled onto a small peninsula that had some trees on it. The only other noteworthy thing from that day was that he never saw the guy walking around on the island, and eventually the smoke stopped. The last thing on that page was that Uncle planned on moving to a different lake the next day because he wanted to be completely alone. The next day, he noticed that the guy hadn't lit a fire, and he still hadn't seen him walking around on the island and his canoe was still there. There was a storm rolling in that day and my uncle decided to stay at the spot for another night. He also wrote that during the night on the first day, he got up to take a piss. The moon wasn't quite full, but it gave off a lot of light. He saw what looked like a log standing straight up out in the middle of the lake. The last page had 2 days on it, one in the front and one in the back. The weather was horrible the next day, windy and cloudy. He decided to try and head out anyway, but ended up flipping his canoe and had to head back to shore. He made a fire and dried out all his gear and clothes as best he could. He set up his tent again and was in for another night. He also wrote that he still had not seen any movement or fire on the island, and that the night before he once again saw the upright log on the lake, but this time it had been closer, about half of the way between the first place he saw it and his campsite. He also noted that it was not visible during the day. From what I had read up to that point, I didn't understand what was so bad about this that he would try to hide it from me. That all changed when I read the last entry. The last night that he was there, the moonlight woke him up. He also had to take a piss. He got out of the tent in the cool night air to complete silence. The only sound was the faintest lapping of the water on the shore. As he was relieving himself, he noticed how calm and glassy the lake was, and then he saw it. The thing that he thought was a log stood at the very end of the peninsula. Now that it was on land, he could tell that it was alive. A pitch-black figure almost 7 feet tall, wearing what looked like wet robes. He crawled back into his tent, his heart racing, and pretended like it wasn't there. Then he heard the voice of a child in distress. "Can you help me? I'm lost." Followed by a low giggling and random whispers around the tent. "Shh, don't wake him." Then more giggling. This went on for what seemed like an eternity. The sounds of footsteps all around the tent, giggling and shushing. Just before dawn, he heard what he presumed to be the figure wading back out into the water. As soon as it was light out, he was already packing his things and heading back the way he came in. But first, he paddled up to the island to see if anyone was there. All he saw were the remains of the first fire, the tent torn apart on one side, blood everywhere, and strange symbols drawn on a big boulder. He reported the missing man, but he never told anyone about what he saw that night. After I was done reading, I just sat there until my uncle got back from his walk. "It's still out there," he said as he looked towards the lake. He said that he bought up the area over the years and tries his best to keep people off that lake. He says it's cursed. Be me, late at night playing Halo 3. Balls deep at some king of the hill. I hear a knock at the door. The frick.png. Who the hell knocks this late at night? I go grab a kitchen knife and walk to the door. I look through the peephole. I see a skinny guy on the other side. Who is it? Danny. The hell is my neighbor doing knocking on my door? What do you want? Can I come in? No, sorry, bye. I go back to the couch to resume playing Halo. Knocking continues for a couple minutes and Danny asking to come in. The knocking stops. Go back to the door and see Danny still standing there. He's looking right at the peephole. His eyes are glossy. Danny begins to walk to another house. I turn off everything and go to bed. I bring the kitchen knife with me to be sure no weird shit happens. After a strange night's sleep, I wake up. After I get up and get breakfast, I realize something. My face when I remember that Danny had died 2 weeks ago in a car crash.